a sticker. Let's see. All right. To get the truck registered. I got this lawnmower in the back. It's a high wheel push mower that I think I'm going to try and mow some lawns. It's that time of year, and if I can, make a little money on the side to get this ministry going, all the better. Brian's already gone. So, the thing I like to talk about on Ministry Mondays is what I believe God gave me as a vision for the future of Christianity, or all people, really. 2012, I came up with the idea for what we called at the time Freedom Farms Foundation. Made a Facebook page, did a lot of advocacy online, did some in person, letting people know what our idea was. And the idea is, and this was before I was even saved, was conventional tiny house community. Whoa, turkey, flying turkey, wow. The original premise was just a question that I posited to a friend when I was actually homeless. The homeless shelter that we were at housed 50 plus people. And I just asked the question, what if we take these 50 people in the supper line and put them on a piece of... How old am I? 41. And over the years, especially since I got saved, reading the Bible a lot more, understanding the Bible a lot more, me and a buddy came across verses in the book of Acts that talks about how Christians lived community, shared things in common. That whole concept is what I've put on top of giving people an opportunity to better their lives, be productive members of society. So right now it's still, obviously in its advocacy stage. We haven't made any progress on the property that we live on to the point where we can start bringing people in. We got to be able to create an income for ourselves to kind of support the expansion of the intentional community. It's like people do whatever they have to do to get the things that they need. And it's unfortunate. And I don't wish, I told my friends over the years while homeless, is I would never wish this upon anyone. There was days where I had to walk from the homeless shelter in the middle of winter, mind you, when it's negative 20 degrees, and go find somewhere during the day to hang out to stay warm. 2-mile walk in negative 20 degrees, not knowing where you had that night, or just with a blanket over me. The cops would eventually stroll by and tell me I can't sleep there or whatever. And there are other times when it was winter, and I think I had warrants out at the time, so I was pretty much outside. I built myself a pallet shack out in the woods with a bunch of tarps and sleeping bags, but I wouldn't wish that on anybody. The other thing that we have to focus on with this whole faith-based intentional tiny house community is something a lot of people struggle with, and that is the part in the Bible where it says to take care of those who are in prison. I'm pretty sure that means brothers and sisters in Christ, but why not everybody? So we should have some kind of outreach, which I think I could reach out to a certain ministry locally where I could tell the authorities in the church that, you know, this is something I'm willing to offer if we could have somebody that goes in on a weekly basis and preaches a sermon. Why not be able to tell the inmates that there's an option for when you get out, instead of just booting somebody out the back door at PCJ, Penobscot County Jail. You have somebody there waiting for them because you know they're getting out. But hey, this is the opportunity that you have, is either go back to the world where you can just, you know, what's the word? Recidivism. The chances of a criminal doing the same thing because they don't have any other option. I want to be able to provide that option in the form of community. That's what people, I've been in prison, I've been in jail too. I've never been to prison. So now that I've ranted long enough to get out to the big road, there's a link in the live description with a Discord invite link. If you want to be a part of this community, the Discord channel has separate channels for each different day. Of course, Mondays is Ministry Mondays, Wednesdays are whatever Wednesdays, and Fridays are Farm Fridays. I also, towards the end of the drive, once I get closer to town, I'll turn the camera on. So if you guys want to stick around for a little bit, have a conversation, eventually the camera will come on. So that's my ministry. And it's not going to be run as a nonprofit. It's not going to be a 501c3. It's going to be operated as a business. Because the thing that I see with the church is I've asked the church to help me out with this idea. I've gone to several churches, actually, at least a dozen in this county. I said, hey, why don't we do a little more? And maybe it was insulting the way I presented it, but I said, you know, why not give somebody a hand up instead of a hand out? You know, it's great that we can, you know, meet these people where they are and help them with some clothes, a shower, you know, some food. And sure, a warming center is great for, like, there's no other really descriptive word for it, bare minimum. Why can't the church own a piece of property that gives these people the opportunity to better themselves, be productive members of society? And one of the big questions that the church asked me in return was, well, what's your timeline? How long do you think this is going to take to set up? And I said, well, we can set it up right now with the right people, you know. And he said, no, these things take years and years. And I don't think it does, because it's not the fact that there's a need and somebody sees it and says something. It's the fact that the 501c3s get to write off all those things they hand out to people. That's part of their, you know, nonprofit classification. So I'm not going to run my ministry like that. It's going to be operated as a business. The business is going to own the land. The people are going to lease it for $1 a year in perpetuity. I mean, of course, you'll have to re-sign the contract every, you know, so often, but that way, I mean, it could be run as a nonprofit, But because it's a business, yes, it'll pay property taxes, it'll pay income taxes, because that's the right thing to do. You know, there's a scripture that says, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And, you know, property taxes are part of that, you know, pay the government kind of deal. So how's everybody doing this wonderful Monday? Probably a different crowd than I normally get when I used to stream first thing in the mornings, but oh, I see a math problem. I don't do math while I'm driving, bud. So, continuing on with the ministry talk is, right now we're growing out plants so that by the time we start getting people coming in, we'll have enough plants. You know, this is what you have to be a caretaker of, or a garden, or some livestock. There's going to be a responsibility. It's not a flop house. It's not a free ride. You know, I was talking to a guy the other day about Job Corps, and like every high school student upon leaving high school should go to Job Corps, some kind of technical school. Job Corps is a free one, but because having a trade, that's pretty much what Job Corps is a trade school. You know, you can do welding, mechanical, forestry, information technology, dealing with AI, nursing. I think the one that I went to had a chef's program. Most of them do. But those are trades that you can carry on. Even if you're not doing that job, you can, if you need a job, switch back into that role. People should look at, you know, at least becoming a plumber, electrician, mechanic, be able to work on your own car at least. It took me, whatever, eight years of working in the tire industry to know that I'm a competent technician. To look at a set of tires and know whether they should be replaced or not, or be able to find a damaged tire to be patched. I've done so many at the places that I've worked that, you know, I worked at one of the biggest independent tire shops in the state of Maine. That should say something. I did get fired from that job, but not because of my ability to do the job. It was personal. So I don't think they liked the fact that I could do tires and circles around some of these guys who are younger, getting paid more. And that, I think that's where I failed. I thought I was better than the people around me, which I'm not, because I got fired. Don't like my attitude. Well, I know I have more ability than the person beside me. And when I can do tires twice as fast as that person. But again, I didn't realize at the time that getting paid hourly doesn't mean you need to work fast. Act your wage, not your age. I'm sure somebody appreciates that one. Again, there's a link in this live description for my Discord channel for all the different shows that I do throughout the week. Ministry Monday, whatever Wednesday, Farm Friday. If you have any questions about anything I've had to say, get in the comments. I love it when people comment, ask questions. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep ranting and ranting and ranting about stuff you guys probably don't actually care about. I mean, I've got 9 people watching, which is great. Have you guys had any bad interactions with churches or ministry differences, or, you know, how certain things are done in the church or related to Christians? I really want to have these conversations because it gives us the opportunity to work through it as a community. And that's why I set up the Discord channel, so that we can have more of a back and forth conversation than me just ranting at you guys. So if you guys aren't, please hit the subscribe button, double tap the screen, give me a like. It really helps out. You know, I've been grinding this, pretty much this schedule. Early on, I was doing like every day during the week, which was kind of too much. But I've kind of settled into this 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But I'm going to keep doing it, whether I'm streaming to 0 people or 100 people. I'm going to keep trying. I haven't been doing it every stream, but I've been trying to put the Discord link down there in the description because, again, I want to interact with you guys more on a back and forth instead of just kind of a one-way conversation here. So, I thought about this the other day. The old saying, you know, what was it like? Now I can't even remember. The second occupation in the world was a prostitute, but the first occupation was a farmer. We weren't really farmers, we were tenders of the Garden of Eden. But now we're farmers. We have to struggle through it, but there's ways to set the land so that we don't have to work as hard, of course, but I think we found, kind of off topic, probably more for Farm Friday, but I think we found some lilacs growing right on the property. They're little baby ones, less than 6 inches tall. But it's always a blessing to see new plants, figure them out. If we've got a dozen lilacs right there, we'll be able to take cuttings off those pretty soon, actually. Anybody got any opinions on ministry things, church things? I don't even know what's going on in the Catholic Church. Do we still have an American Pope? American-born Pope, I guess is the right way to put it. Pope Leo. I think somebody online was trying to say that this is the the quickest changes of popes in the papal history. Anybody know if that's true? Here's a good one. You know, a church, 501c3 is always like Second Baptist Church or wherever, or United Pentecostal, whatever. But if you had to name a church as though it's a business, what kind of name would you call the church? Definitely not a math problem, I know that. So this guy's got an SUV with a trailer with small equipment on it. Sam's Landscaping. I'm gonna get me a weed whacker too. That might be difficult. I gotta get me some summer tires, all season tires anyways. Trying to see if anybody will stick around till the end of the Bradley Road, so I can turn my camera on. Everybody can see my pretty face. Oh, there it goes, green light. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Boy, it'd be nice to be able to work in there just doing tires, but I was looking at the primary ballots that they got at the town office this morning because I had to register the truck. And they've got write-in options. I think it's June 9th, next week. I might try to write myself in for for governor. What do you guys think of that? Brother Alec for governor. Woo! Boy, if I didn't have a push mower in the back, that rack would have been nice. So, I don't know if any of my audience is from Maine, but there's used to be a Martin's. It's kind of like a wholesale store. Well, what they do is they have contracts with stores that close. They'll take all the inventory and sell it off at a discount or whatever. Of course, they still make money doing it, but anyways, the one that used to be in Brewer, the building is still there. I don't know if they're going to tear it down or what they're doing, but I took my boss to, what was it, the doctor's appointment or the bank or something, and we were talking about what that building could be used for, and it's a pretty good sized building. I was thinking solar powered Amazon warehouse. Plenty of roof space for the solar panels. Plenty of space inside for a warehouse. They just have to change up the facade for delivery trucks. really wouldn't take that much. Plenty of parking, so you could have pick up your items at the warehouse. Pretty good thought to me. Even for an independent business, like a home delivery, like a local home delivery business. Ordering, you know, all the basics, toilet paper, paper towels, probably some basic like dry foods. I don't know about like frozen foods or cold foods, but it could be like, you know, up here we have Hannaford as a grocery store. They have curbside pickup. Walmart has curbside pickup and delivery. I don't know, just an idea. Kind of the opposite side of things with the intentional community, but if somebody was dedicated enough with enough of a startup cash flow, they could probably pull it off. The thing with one of the big things with the intentional community, though, is selling the products that we make only within 100 miles of the community. You know, at that point, you have to think about, well, how do you expand? And that's just buying another piece of property, putting some people on it that are productive, you know, nursery garden wise, because that's our primary means of income. And then have hobby goods like handmade furniture, handmade clothes. You know, I have an interest in 3D printing because of my IT background. So we could be 3D printing replacement parts for vehicles. I was talking to a buddy of mine the other day about it, and it makes sense. All you need is the original item, scan it, print it, clean it up, and it would be just like an original piece of equipment. Like the plastic housing for your side mirrors on the car, that could be 3D printed. A lot of the knobs in a truck or car, if it has them, could be 3D printed. Like the pieces that break, like the ashtray thing here in the center console, that could all be 3D printed in a different shape on the inside for my use, which is plug in my inverter. Here in the truck I have the blower motor went out on me, so it doesn't blow, it's just the air moving through the vehicle is pushing hot or cold air into the cab. But if I had a housing adapter of some sort that could be 3D printed with just some PC fans, that would blow plenty of air. If you guys want to check out the Discord channel, that'd be great. Links in the description. Patreon page, which I haven't really posted too much in a while, but there are some studies and messages over there for anybody who's a Christian. That's in the channel description. Probably going to do another farm update short sometime this week to show off some of the stuff that's actually growing. I think we found I guess it's considered a wild geranium. So we're going to try to propagate those and see if we can actually get them potted up. sell them at the end of the year, whatever. Maybe at the beginning of next year when they start growing again. There's other plants that I'm keeping an eye on that are growing wild on the property that I'd like to propagate. Like ones we've already done are white spruce, autumn joy sedum. We got a ton of those right now. Well, not a ton, but there's 15 cuttings that are grew from last year, and then I've got another 15 cuttings in water right now rooting. So I got to buy some soil or whatever, potting soil to plant some stuff out. That's all part of the ministry. That's our way of making money on the side to get us set up so that we don't necessarily have to drive into town for income. I want the majority of my income to be coming from the property. You got to pay taxes, and probably within 2 or 3 years, with all the plants that I'm growing, we can start putting money away this time of year for our heating budget in the wintertime. If you have any questions about how I set up my ministry as a business instead of a 501c3 nonprofit, it just makes sense to me because of the roadblocks that churches face when they're trying to help people. From an outside perspective, it looks like the church is not doing its job, even though it thinks it is. I just think people would be more open to hearing a message if you offered them something. Like, some churches will do service and a supper. In order to go to supper, you got to go to service. The same concept could be applied to living in the intentional community. You're out on the street preaching to people, and they say, well, what do you have to offer? Oh, we can pray for you. That's one of the big things with the church today. All their street preachers, all they do, oh, I can pray for you. Well, no, you got to offer me something. I'm of the world. So why not offer them the things they need? Shelter, clothes, food, shower, community. The millions of dollars that go into churches tax-free, and it doesn't help anybody. It's just as bad as the secular world with the city. Bangor's got $20 million set aside specifically to house people and get them off the streets and help them. And it just sits there. The reason it sits there, I believe, is the amount of dividends, basically, from that money. It's gaining interest every month or every year. I wonder what kind of interest rate they have. $20 million, 1%'s what? 200 grand a year. Wonder what that money's being used for. It's kind of a conundrum to me. I don't understand why they're doing it instead of actually helping people. It wouldn't be that hard to take a piece of property like the Martins and Brewer if it was in Bangor, an empty building like that, put in a bunch of units, and have communal spaces, kitchens, entertainment areas, laundry and shower facilities. All of that's common. You can fit a lot more people into a space. Instead, we expect people to get their own apartment with their own shower, their own kitchen, their own washer and dryer. It's wasteful to me. Especially the rental buildings in Bangor. They should have a communal laundry space. That should be part of the rent. And speaking of rent, there's people out there that will advocate for rent control. Well, if we're going to have rent control, we should have price control on everything. With the gas prices the way they are, I thought about, well, what if they were only allowed to change the price of gas 5 cents in either direction each day? Because I've seen days where it would jump up 30 cents a gallon. I mean, we're still about $4 a gallon. Trash truck hasn't come through yet, so I have an opportunity. If I see anything, I'm gonna hit the bump. Oh, not bad. So Mondays is trash day for, what are we, technically in Brewer? Or at least part of Brewer. I'm always looking for stuff that we can salvage, maybe resell. I've got a couple pieces at the house that I've got to bring back outside, look it over. I think I got a table that I got to strip the paint off of. Sand it down. Give it a decent stain to it so it looks like a nice table. I think that's the same one that I gotta find some hinges and some leaves. They're the ones that fold out on the outside. Or just sell it the way it is. At least strip the paint off it. What in the world? Truck full of debris? Or is that plants? That might be plants. Yeah, that's plants. Somebody bought a bunch of, looks like green giant arborvitae, probably 20 or 30 of them. So the big goal with the white spruce, which are technically used for Christmas trees, is to plant them on the 10 acres down back. Well, I guess I'll get done at the store down here. But yeah, I'm gonna have a Christmas tree farm at some point. I've got about 18 cuttings right now that are eventually going to be the parent plants to the farm. 18 turns into 50. 50 turns into 500. Goes on and on. Take more cuttings, make more plants. Because what I'd really like to be doing is selling wholesale when I have, thousands of plants every year. Smaller plants. That way people, will feel like they're getting a deal. Like the Autumn Joy Sedum, when I have enough of them, sell them for $6 a piece or 2 for $10. I hope everybody's enjoyed the show. That's really the only purpose I do it is, well, for me to keep practicing, and hopefully you guys find entertainment in it. Go check out the Discord channel, go check out the Patreon. But I gotta get gas while I'm here, so can't do that while I'm streaming. Hope you guys have a blessed day.